Hey guys, it's Holly aka Potty Minifig Pals, and today I have a set from one of LEGO's newest themes, that being the LEGO art. This isn't really a new idea to LEGO. They have done Mosaic things before, but they've never really tried to do it on such a large scale from my knowledge. And when this was announced about a month or two ago, I didn't think I was ever gonna pick it up. To me, I wasn't completely sold on the price point. I thought it was quite a lot for what I perceive its value to be, but in hindsight, I'm really glad I picked this up. And the price tag for me is 200 Australian dollars or 100 US dollars, I think. So the one that appealed the most to me was definitely the Sith, and it is set 31200 and has 3,406 pieces. With LEGO art as well, you have 3 different designs you can pick from, but you can only display one at a time. So for the Star Wars one, you can display Darth Vader, Darth Maul, or Kylo Ren, and if you buy 3 versions of the set, you can combine them all to make Mega Vader. That is what I've decided to call him. One thing they also are trying to advertise with this set is that you can listen to a soundtrack when you build it. When I built it, however, I couldn't get the soundtrack to save my life. And because this set is really easy to pick up, I thought I would show you while I'm sat here. So this is Darth Vader. He's the one I chose, and that's purely because Vader is my favorite of the 3 characters. I definitely don't think he's the one that looks the best. In my opinion, just from looking at the photos, I think Darth Maul is probably the best one. But for me, I really wanted to have Vader on display, so he's the one I've built. In terms of how long it took, honestly, I don't know, because I did build this set with my mum, and that's one of the reasons why I bought it. She kept saying she was bored and wanted something to do, and I saw Ash and Flash post his pictures of his unboxing of his Iron Man one, and I kind of just gave in. I went back to the store, I picked up the Sith one, and my mom and I sat down and we did it in pieces. As what you do is you get these giant Technic square plates. So this whole thing is built out of 9 plates. You've got 3 in each row, and they are just held together with Technic pins, and then you can build this brick-built frame around the outside if you want. When we take a closer look at it, I'll show you the back of it a bit better, but yes, you build these Technic plates, so we could do it at the same time, and we had all the pieces out in different bowls and like clipped them. I took some videos of when I was building it, and then because I couldn't have the soundtrack on, I just had TV on in the background, and mum and I were doing it together, and it was really relaxing and quite a lot of fun as well. But overall, it was a lot simpler than I thought it was going to be to build. So let's take a closer look at it, and I'll run you through the manual, the brick separator, all the spare pieces, and how this thing is actually put together. Here is Darth Vader. Here's also a look at the brick separator. When this series first got announced, a lot of people fell in love with this brick separator, calling it the Chad brick separator and things like that. Honestly, it's really good. I didn't have to use it too many times when building, which was really lucky, but when I did, it was amazing to use. And you can see it's quite a lot bigger than your regular brick separator. I feel like this is going to be really good to use on plates in the future, because that's one issue I had with this one, especially on like some of the longer like 8x2 ones and things like that. This just wouldn't pick them up the same. I feel like this one is going to be a big upgrade in that regard. You can also pick 10 studs off at a time with this flat edge, which is incredible. And yeah, I'm really glad that this thing exists now. Hopefully it is put in more sets and not just the LEGO art line. I'm also yet to see if it's on bricks and pieces. If it is, I might end up buying another one, because I feel like this is going to be a pretty interesting tool. I have brick separators lying around everywhere. I've got one in my desk drawer, for example. They are a very handy tool to have. And taking a look at the manual, it's a lot smaller than I thought it was. And I mean, I guess that makes sense, because you're only like doing mosaics. It's not going to have like a step-by-step guide. I kind of thought it might do for some reason, but yeah, it's very small and very thin as well. And on the inside, you get some details about how it was made. You get interviews with the designers, but also the history of LEGO Star Wars, and you get this photo as well of the photos it was based off of. These aren't the stud pictures, these are actual printed pictures. One thing I really liked as well is you get some information on the 3 characters. So you have a whole page dedicated to Darth Maul, including the scary Darth Maul bust. You have one dedicated to Vader. I was kind of confused. I thought this was LEGO Vader at first, and then I realized, no, okay, it's actual Vader. You also get a picture of the Darth Vader bust, which is kind of rude considering that was only a US Target exclusive and never actually got it in this country. And at the end you get Kylo Ren, and since he hasn't had a massive bust, you just get one without his mask on. Then here's the page where you scan the soundtrack. So I scanned this QR code, and maybe it's because it's not released everywhere that I didn't get to listen to it, but it wasn't up and running. Ash and Flash also told me that he couldn't find the one for his Iron Man one. I guess they just haven't been uploaded yet. Maybe that's the case. And the instructions are really easy to follow. You just build it in sections like this, and this whole picture is to scale as well. That's one reason I liked using the physical instructions, is for some of these edge pieces, it was easy. I could just stick the whole thing on it and then kind of move it down so that that one row was showing and I could match it up. There's also this picture on the left, which I personally didn't use to build it. I just used the diagrams on the right. And you also have an advertisement for Mega Vader. Honestly, now that I've bought one, I can see myself possibly buying another 2 in the future. I wouldn't do it at the same time. I would buy them in bits and pieces and kind of spread it out to build. The instructions also aren't in here. You have to scan the QR code in the manual to get them. So here is Darth Vader, and he definitely looks better when held from far away. Even right now, looking at it in my viewfinder, it looks amazing, it looks fantastic, and then if I look down from where I'm standing, it just kind of doesn't look right. Vader's kind of funny for that reason. I don't think you'd have the same problem with Marilyn Monroe or Iron Man or even Darth Maul and Kylo Ren. I feel like you might have the same issue with the Beatles one. You also get this really nice Star Wars plaque here. I love this piece. And you don't have to have it there. You can put studs and have the complete picture if you really want to. But for me personally, I like the Star Wars logo on it. I don't think I'd put him on there though. On Mega Vader, I would have the whole thing. Like I said in the intro as well, there are definitely some sections of this which are easier to build than others. I started off with this top corner and I got it done really fast. My mum did this section here, which she kind of took a bit longer to do. This piece as well also took a really long time to do, and I managed to get these 2 done really quickly as well. One technique I found to be really helpful was basically outlining this full color. So like on sections like this, I would do all of the outline of the blue and then I would just fill it in because I found that to be a lot easier. I didn't have to keep counting like how many studs across or how many studs down it was. One thing I always wondered as well with this set is how many studs were there going to be left over, because obviously you're not going to use all of the colors and use every single piece. Just by looking at the Marilyn Monroe one, you can tell that. You don't use entire colors in that one, for example. So what I've done is basically individually bag up all the remaining studs, and I've just stuck them in one of my like Lego replacement pieces bags. So here are all the studs that are left over. I have no clue like how many there are, but there are definitely a lot. Speaking of leftover pieces, we also get a few leftover Technic pins and these 2 corner plates. And my thought behind these is that these are probably in here so that you can combine the Vaders. I feel like these Technic pins are definitely to put at the bottom of the frame here so you can slide them in together. Now, if you were wondering how to hang these things up, this is the piece you use to do it. So you get 2 of these in this set, and in the manual it says to put them at the 2 top corners. And basically with this piece, you've just got 2 Technic pins at the top to slot into those plates, and then you've got a hole in the middle to put your hook. Now, I've recently taken down some picture frames, so I have spare hooks on my wall, but I don't have 2 that are going to be perfectly spaced to hang this up on. So what I've done is I have just stuck one of these pieces right in the middle up the top of Vader. I tested it out last night and it definitely does hang up with just that one piece, although I did take it down after a while, so I'm not too sure how it lasts on the wall, but I'll hang it up in this video so you can see how that all works as well. So turning Vader around, let's take a look at the back side and see how this is all constructed. So as you can see, there are 9 separate Technic plates. You can't really see because the entire thing is black, but there is that hook piece placed right in the center there. If you do want to do it with someone else like me, you will need to have a digital copy of the instructions, as you only get 1 manual to do this. And I do highly recommend doing it with another person if you can convince them that this is a fun activity. In my case, my mum had been doing some of those diamond dot craft activities over quarantine, so it was really easy to convince her to do this with me. She also said it was pretty easy for her too because these pieces are a lot bigger and they're not as fiddly to deal with. The only complaint she had was that she couldn't really tell the difference between the colors as it started to get darker. Even when she put her reading glasses on, she still kind of struggled, but I helped her out with that, so it was pretty easy. And for the most part as well, neither of us made that many mistakes. There were a few, maybe 1 or 2 studs that were placed over, but none of it was like we finished it and we've looked and suddenly we've seen a massive error. We've had none of that. It was just halfway through you'd see, okay, I put 1 stud in the wrong place. You get the brick separator, pop it off and just redo it, and it was fine. So now that we've had a closer look at it, it's time to finally put it up on my wall. So I'll show you how I hang it up and show you how easy it is. So I've only got 1 hook on my wall, so I've got to hook this entire thing onto here. And it's that easy. Because of the way my hooks work, you can kind of see part of the hook at the top, but that's the same with my Harry Potter minifigure display case. I can see part of the hook through that too. It kind of doesn't bother me. The fact that Vader's on the wall just looks spectacular enough to me that I don't really care. There's not too many wooden beams in my walls either, so the likelihood of that just being put into plaster is very high. And even then, I don't think it's going to fall down purely because of how light the Lego art is. I feel like my minifigure frame is a lot heavier than this piece is. And that's pretty much it. Once you've built Lego art, you just hang it up on the wall or you put it on a shelf and that's all you really do with it. I guess you could take it apart and then redo one of the pictures if you really wanted to. I've tried to fit Vader in as much as possible, but I'm kind of short, so it's not working very well. So that is the Lego Art the Sith. Fun fact, I just realized there's not actually anything that says Lego Art on the box. It just says the title in the Lego Art font and the Lego logo at the bottom. It's kind of interesting. I definitely think though, if you can build one of these with a friend or with a family member, I would definitely do that. Even if you both build one each rather rather than like doing the same one together, I definitely think it adds something new to the experience. Yes, of course, you could listen to the soundtrack like the instructions intended, but in my case, it wasn't up, so I really couldn't do that even if I tried. But to me, that brought a whole new element to the build experience, which I hadn't really done before. Like, I've seen Brickitect build things with Clark and they'll do different sections in different manuals, but I've never done that with my family before. Although if I was a parent, I wouldn't really do this with my young kid unless they were like 13 or 14. I feel like 12-year-olds might do it too, but like any younger, one, you'd get bored, and two, you'd probably make a lot of mistakes. It was also a really good stress reliever. For me, Lego's kind of always been that. It's always been a way to de-stress and just kind of remove myself from the situation and relax and just have a good time. To me, it's kind of a form of therapy. And I'm glad to say Lego art does bring that to the table as well. I thought it was going to be a lot more stressful and a lot more complicated and harder. I also thought I was going to make a lot more mistakes than I actually did, so I was pleasantly surprised. If I didn't want to get a review on it up so quickly, I probably wouldn't have built it as fast as I did. I would have like done it over the course of a few days so that I had something to do every single day. And if for some reason I end up buying the other two in the future to make Mega Vader, that is what I'll do. I'll take my time and make it like a full experience. And once again, I will ask my family members if they want to do some with me. I was even talking to my mom about putting this in our spare bedroom where all of my Harry Potter sets are on that bookcase. And she was very open to the idea. She thought it would look really good in there, but ultimately I kind of just decided to hang it here for now because I already had a hook on the wall. I wouldn't need to get the hammer out and try and do that. This would be the perfect thing to do in like Christmas or New Year's or a holiday break where you just kind of want to like avoid the internet for the most part and just relax. It kind of also reminds me of a puzzle. But that is Lego art. Are you considering getting one? And if so, which one is your favorite out of the 4 available? Let me know what your favorite is down below and if you are going to get it. And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel down below as well if you enjoyed it. And until next time, I'll see you later.